The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. God be with you. Blessed are you, generous and gracious God, whose spirit creates and sustains all things, whose majesty fills the universe. Come and fill us with your will and your power to do right. Open the hearts and minds of these representatives to the needs, desires, and gifts of the people of Minnesota. Guide them as they reflect and deliberate over a whole host of issues and whatever you bring to their agenda. Endow each of these with wisdom and courage to legislate fairly across cultural, racial, religious, and economic distinctions. Watch over, bless, prosper them and their families as they do the work of this session. All the while, deliver us from parochial vision and confirm in us the will to work for the common good. Fill us with an audacious hope in your ability to open doors and to create out of nothing. Blessed are you, ruler of the universe. Amen.
The chaplain for today is Reverend Roger Allmendinger from Arlington Hills Lutheran Church, St. Paul, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. Quorum is present. The clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 89th session, 76th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Thursday, March 31st, 2016.
If there's no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. A copy of this order of business has been placed on each member's desk. If there's no objection, the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Second reading of House files.
Second reading House File 1099.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 1560.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 1948.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2294.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2332.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2389.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2451.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2552.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2607.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2741.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2771.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2772.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2851.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2866.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 2927.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 3082.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 3251.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 3304.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 3384.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 3404.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 3501.
Second reading.
Second reading House File 3588.
Second reading. Can tell it's a committee deadline day. Introduction of bills.
Introduction of first.
Excuse me, second reading of House files.
Following House files.
What's that?
Following House files are offered for introduction. Sorry.
Oh, we don't have second reading of House files.
That's not
Oh, we did that, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
What are we on?
Introduction of bills, the following House files.
I thought there was one item we missed. No, we did that. Okay. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Introduction of bills. My apologies. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The chief clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction and first reading of House Files 3774 through 3794.
First reading, House files 3774 through 3794. Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there's no objection, we'll take action on these motions first. Hearing no objection, the motions prevail.
O'Neill moves that Senate File number 2614 be recalled from the Committee on Higher Education Policy and Finance, and together with House File number 2798, now on the General Register, be referred to the Chief Clerk for comparison. Yeah, we can do a different one. I'll just vote a different one. Clark moves that House File number 3054 be recalled from the Committee on Job Growth and Energy Affordability Policy and Finance and be re-referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Crime Prevention Policy and Finance.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Clark, to your motion.
Mr. Chairman, I was putting that one off. I had a different motion.
David?
Should be there. That's not the one. It's 3504. Sorry. Just put that one on hold, Mr. Chair.
Clark moves that House File number 3504 be recalled from the Committee on Aging and Long-Term Care Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Clark.
This bill is a pilot program dealing with the health and wellness for East African seniors, and I talked to the chairs of both committees, and they're fine with having it be referred. Thank you.
Any discussion on the Clark motion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the Clark motion signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails.
Pugh moves that House File Number 3553 be recalled from the Committee on Health and Human Services Reform and be re-referred to the Committee on Higher Education Policy and Finance.
The member from Carver, Representative Pugh, to your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, that is my motion. I do request that House File 3553 be recalled from HHS Reform and re-referred to Higher Ed. Thank you.
Any discussion on the Pugh motion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the Pugh motion signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails.
O'Neill moved that Senate File Number 2614 be recalled from the Committee on Higher Education Policy and Finance, and together with House File 2798, now on the General Register, be referred to the Chief Clerk for comparison.
The member from Wright, Representative O'Neill, to your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This is just a simple procedure. The Senate passed the Senate bill before we had a second reading here in the House, and my motion is to recall that Senate file from the committee and return it to the General Register for comparison by the Chief Clerk.
Any discussion on the O'Neill motion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the O'Neill motion signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails. Announcements. The member from Hennepin, Representative Pepin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 4 p.m. Monday, April 4th, 2016.
Representative Pepin moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 4 o'clock p.m. Monday, April 4th, 2016. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails. Representative Pepin.
I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Pepin moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails, and the House stands adjourned until 4 o'clock p.m. Monday, April 4th, 2016. Have a good weekend, members.